I want to share with you some very easy to grasp basic principles that are not difficult to implement. They're not complicated. They're not controversial. They're highly practical to help you find your center again, to cope with this change and really to keep you connected to your family during this very challenging and complicated time. Let's have a look at what hasn't changed, seeing as we have looked at all those things that have been taken away from us. And that first picture on your left there is about connectedness. And your family, you, your friends, but your kids especially are desperate for a sense of togetherness and belonging. This is hugely important to them on a normal day. But right now, during COVID-19, they're feeling untethered. They are feeling anxious, stressed, panicky, and they're also being impacted on by how you feel. So you need to sort out your baggage. Make sure that you go for counseling. Find somebody to talk to. Make sure that you work through your feelings, that you label them and identify them. That SCARF model, if you actually go through that step by step and see where you're at on all those different levels, you can actually then start taking action and create an action plan with baby steps to move forward. And having a plan helps your children to feel safer and more secure. We'll get back to that just now. But knowing that you have a plan actually does help them enormously. I want to share with you the triangle, the framework that Dr. Graham Codrington and I designed, that you will find in our new book, Future-Proof Your Child for the 2020s and Beyond, How to Parent in Disruptive Times. That book was published by Penguin Random House in August last year, 2019. Couldn't be a better time to have published that book. And if you have a look at this model, it's a triangle, and the widest layer at the bottom symbolizes family. Family is where hope lives. And it doesn't matter what the shape, gender, or size of your family is. Family is where hope lives today. Family is whatever family is to you. Family provides the hidden curriculum for your children. School, which as you can see is much further up on that triangle. School provides a formal curriculum, but parents provide the hidden curriculum for their children. And 80% of what your children need in order to thrive and survive in the future comes out of the hidden curriculum. What's caught, not taught. It comes out of what they learn by osmosis, mostly from observing life in action and the adults in their lives actually in action. This is a generation of children who are visual. They are watching you. So we believe that family is the foundation for everything, and the rest of the future-proofing your child building blocks get placed on top of family. The second one is curiosity, and curiosity is the foundation of learning. This is not the same as going to school. All children are born curious. They are all born curious learners who have the ability to learn. You don't have to teach them how to learn. They will learn automatically. They're like sponges. On top of that curiosity, which we are tasked as parents with keeping alive, we then start building the X factors for success and helping our children to develop them. And those are caught and not taught. We're talking about creativity, innovative thinking, resourcefulness and resilience, loving learning for your whole life, being part of a team, and family is your first team. Within the we discover the me. And then knowing yourself really well is the final X factor for success. And all of those things are really learnt in the home more than anything else. And above the X factors for success is school, the formal curriculum. Every child goes to school or goes through a formal curriculum, even if they are being homeschooled, because ultimately you have to pass some kind of exam in order to get to the next level. There is an entry requirement to get into tertiary education. And once your child has done all of that, then they can start developing a talent profile. In fact, you don't even have to wait until your child is at the end of school to develop a talent profile. In the book, Future Proof Your Child, we take you through what we call the mirror game. And that's when you can start from the age of 8, letting your child look inside different mirrors. Their emotional mirror, their school mirror, the parent mirror, the friend's mirror, their own mirror, to describe who they are. Because in the future, who you are is going to be far more important than what you do or what you sell. And I think that COVID-19 is giving us the absolute perfect opportunity to see that that is really true. We are going to see now how quickly industries change. Just look at what's happening in education. If you've got a child, you are watching this because you have a child. And just look at what teachers and schools are having to do to keep up with the level of disruption that COVID-19 is impacting on the education sector. They are having to think on their feet, be flexible, adaptable, be nimble in order to continue to deliver education to your children in virtual ways. So when you get to the top of this triangle, I think we can say that you've probably done everything you can do to future-proof your children. The rest is going to be up to them. And the kind of future that your children are going to create, the version of happiness and success they're going to create is going to be very different from your view of happiness and success. And we've got to be very flexible in our heads and in our hearts, because our children are going to run a very, very different race to us. Once again, COVID-19 is showing us the way, and that this is most definitely true. So what is a family brand? Well, if you had to ask your children to describe you in just 3 words, what would those 3 words be? And I had a friend who asked her 11-year-old twins to describe her in just 3 words, and they only had one. They said rushed. Well, she was fairly devastated. She was actually in a very interesting space in her life. She had been divorced for many, many years, so she was a single mother, but she was building a business and it was going really well. She was very, very busy. And that's probably why they felt that she was rushed, because she was multitasking, second to none. But she took that feedback very seriously. And she took it as feedback, not criticism. But she did say, I would hate to die and have my daughters write on my epitaph, she was rushed. And so over the next 6 to 12 months, she really took active steps to balance her life out as much as she could, so that her children would not be describing her as rushed. And that is how we talk about personal branding. The 3 words people would use to describe you when you leave a room. And it's not rocket science. It's not about going and thinking about this for 10 or 15 minutes or an hour. It's those 3 words that come to mind in an instant. And we have the same with families. When a family leaves a braai on a Sunday, think about what word you might use to describe that family. I can think of adventurous families, magical families, loving families, kind families, charitable families. There are so many different ways we can describe families. What kind of family do you have? And how does it feel to be a member of your family? So often we get stuck on, what does it look like from the outside? What does our family look like from the outside? Instead of interrogating, how does it feel on the inside? Because we all want family to feel a certain way. And what are you doing to ensure that your family feels like family should feel to you? How does it feel to be a Fundamova, to be a Singh, to be a Mandela? How does it feel? Where are you going as a family? Once again, this is not a boardroom conversation. This is just how we do things around here. And that informs the way we are perceived, or how our children perceive us. And we live in a world in which thousands of brands are screaming out to your children every single day. Values. Buy me and you'll be loved. Have me and you'll be accepted. You'll be in. You'll be revered if you own me. So our children are being brought up in a very materialistic culture, and they have to have things in order to be. I'm wondering if COVID-19 isn't going to reset the dial here. It's going to be very interesting. But on that score, every single one of those brands is wanting a piece of your child's heart, mind, and they want your wallet. The easiest way to get more money out of the family budget is to go through your children, and your children are very connected. They have devices. They actually have more time to engage with marketers than you do. And what marketers would die for is face-to-face time with your children. That is the advantage that you have over every big brand that is spending millions to connect with your child. And you don't have to go and buy billboard space. You don't have to buy advertising time on television or in newspapers or magazines. You can change your strategy to connect with your child in a split second. And that is your power. That is the differentiator between you and a commercial brand. That is what you need to be making sure you use to your advantage. How much face-to-face time do you have with your children? It's a good thing to go and do the face-to-face time family audit. I'm going to send you a link to do that, to work out how much time you're actually spending face-to-face with your children. Do you even have dinner together? After my husband passed away, well, it's been just over 2 years now, one of the things that we've missed the most as a family has been dinner time. Dinner was our thing as a family, and it wasn't just sitting down to dinner. It was the preparation of the supper, it was the laying of the table, it was the lighting of the candles, and then it was the clearing up after all the conversation around the dining room table. We would clear up together, stack the dishwasher, wash the dishes. We would be flicking each other with the dish towels, screeching hysterically, laughing, talking, connecting, and that's what we miss the most. The blessing for us in COVID-19 is that my boys, who are now in their early 20s, my boys and I have had dinner every single night together without fail since lockdown, and it's been an absolute gift to see our family knitting together again. So I want you to think about that family brand, because the family brand actually builds a container in which to make your child feel safe.